Welcome everyone to my review of IDW Sonic issue 58, part 2 of Urban Warfare. I'm going to go ahead and place my spoiler warning here, because before I briefly recap what happened last time, I gotta do some cleanup / corrections regarding the previous issue. If you want to go straight to the review, you can skip to this time right here. First of all, people in the comments pointed this out, and I should have noticed it right away. Lanolin's scanning device is a modded version of a VMU. A VMU, or Virtual Memory Unit, is a memory card for the Sega Dreamcast. It can also be used for minigames separate from the console itself once you downloaded the appropriate software. For example, games that let you raise the stats of your child from the Sonic Adventure games. This is sad on my end. I was able to point out stuff like Sega's VR headset and the Sega Menacer in past reviews, and I was unable to recognize one of the Dreamcast's more well-known peripherals. I'm losing my touch. The second thing that was pointed out to me was this badnik. Originally I thought it was Ribbon from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Instead, it's the Gecko from Sonic 3 Advance. I looked it up to confirm this. Yeah, when I see a green amphibious badnik with stretchy appendages, my mind immediately goes to my favorite 2D Sonic game. But hey, it's from a Sonic 3. Finally, and this one's minor, I may concede to the point that the bell around Lanolin's neck is different from the one that she started out with. In-universe, it might have been replaced or modified into a Wispin to house her trusty Wisp companion, Maggie. Yes, that's what she's named her Magenta Wisp. This brings us to Lanolin herself and the recap of the last issue. Her new restoration team, along with Sonic, did some reconnaissance of Eggperial City and determined it was growing by sucking up all the nutrients from the surrounding lands. They were discovered, and as the four were about to escape, a random badnik caused Lanolin's team to fall into a portal that was chasing them. The name of this team, if you're wondering, is the Diamond Cutters, after Whisper's old team. You can thank Tangle for the name. Whisper, no doubt, was unhappy with that suggestion. Anyway, Sonic, now alone, had no choice but to call for help as untold numbers of badniks converge on his location. Sonic's probably having deja vu as he once again has to dodge badniks attacking him in Eggman City. This time though, he doesn't have to do it alone for long. The reinforcements have arrived. Amy and Tails, along with Silver and Blaze. You might be asking, where did the latter two come from? The answers can be found within the pages of the 2022 annual. But if you want the short version, Blaze is here on vacation after she dealt with the last of the robotic pirates, and Silver's here because, despite the good future he got at the end of the Metal Virus saga, he's had this feeling that being in the present is where he's needed the most right now. Something I didn't catch when I reviewed that story was, the person Silver was having a heart-to-heart with, SPO, was his partner character in the game Sonic Rivals 2. A game that features a Save the Future plotline, I might add. Sonic fills in everyone regarding the city, and the new Diamond Cutter's disappearance. Blaze and Silver rule out the Soul Emeralds and time travel as a means to rescue them, so they have to figure something out in the here and now. Luckily, that's why this guy's here. Tails figures the giant crystals all over the city have something to do with this whole thing, and the 5 of them head off to the nearest one. What they don't know is, the missing Diamond Cutters were actually next to them this whole time. They're just trapped in some out-of-phase dimension, unable to interact with the real world. Lanolin wallows in despair. She confesses that she's in way over her head when it comes to field work. She only put together this team out of desperation because she did not want to feel helpless again like she did back in issue 2. Tangle gives her a pep talk, citing her own mistakes in the past, and how Jewel was there to help her through those times. Now that Lanolin has a team, they can work through this together, learn from their mistakes, and have a funny story for down the line. Maybe Tangle should have a pep talk with herself, because that's when Whisper confronts her on naming this team after her old one, knowing what happened to them. Lanolin gets a pass since she doesn't know the whole story. Tangle, finally realizing why Whisper's acting cold towards her last issue, breaks down. She saw how cool the old Diamond Cutters were, the camaraderie they shared, and wanted that for the new team so they wouldn't drift apart. This gets Whisper to think of all her recent actions, including leaving the restoration and the people that have been taking care of her since her run-in with Surge. This also addresses something I've criticized in previous reviews, having some sort of resolution between her and her wisps, as we have a panel of her in a hospital room cradling her friends while Sonic leaves them be. Geez, Surge must have really messed her up for her to wind up in the medical ward. Whisper explains that while she tried walking away and being a solo act with her wisps, there have been those that have supported her recently. Sonic, Tails, Belle, and Tangle. She was keeping her distance because of the one person that hurt her in the past. She doesn't want to lose what she's gained since then to him again. However, she won't let that mimic cloud hang over her head any longer. She apologizes for being a bad friend and teammate and will try to move on, though it will take time. Even after suggesting changing the team's name, Whisper insists they keep it the Diamond Cutters as a way to honor her fallen comrades. Glad you guys worked things out. You're still stuck in an out-of-phase dimension though. As they discuss their next move, Lanolin figures if the heroes can't see them, neither can the Badniks. Using this to their advantage, they will head towards the central tower to gather as much intel as possible. Once they return to normal, they can inform the others and get things done quickly. Well, that was some nice character building. Now back to our regularly scheduled fight already in progress. Sonic, Amy, Silver, and Blaze hold the line as Tails hacks into the giant crystal container. With the area secure for the moment, Tails reveals that the giant crystals are in fact fake Chaos Emeralds. Not as powerful as the real ones, but are more potent than Chaos Drives and Power Cores. Eggman created them to increase the city's power output, but it comes at the cost of the environment. Sonic sees an obvious solution. Let's smash them. What's the worst that can happen? It's not like smashing crystals can shatter the world into its own multiverse or something. Well, Tails explains the real reason why that would be a bad idea. Destroying just one crystal would destroy the city block and them along with it. Not to mention, the city would just suck up more land to heal itself. The crystals themselves are empowered by Eggman's control tower, so that's where they'll shut the whole thing down. They don't get far before witnessing an explosion in the distance. Sonic and Tails will check it out while the others head for the tower. So who are these new arrivals that's causing a lot of ruckus? Well, it's none other than Team Dark. A lot of the comic was focused on the new Diamond Cutters working through their issues. Let's start with Lanolin. She's one of those leaders that puts on a brave front for the team, only to fall apart when things go foobar. To be fair, many leaders need to put up a brave/commanding front for the sake of their team. But experience is also key to making things work, and Lanolin is a newbie when it comes to field work. It's obvious she was inspired to help when she witnessed Sonic and Amy in action in issue 2. I wouldn't be surprised if she based her leadership on Amy's, seeing how she organized the Riverside townsfolk into initiating a counterattack. Thing is, again, Amy's experienced, and Lanolin's new at this. You can tell by the way she's taken the whole mission seriously. She even had this behavior before forming the team. In issue 37, when her role was starting to expand, she was acting more military-like because she thinks that's how things are run. That may have worked in the Resistance, but the Restoration's a bit different. After the team bonding, Lanolin's starting to be more patient, listening to suggestions and acting accordingly, as opposed to her debating with Sonic on how to deal with Eggperial City last issue. Next up is Tangle. We're reminded of her childlike demeanor, that she doesn't fully understand the consequences of her actions, especially the ones that make people uncomfortable, unless it gets explained to her. As much as you want to hate her, when she reveals why she went with the name Diamond Cutters, you kind of feel sorry for her. To her, Whisper's back in her life, and she doesn't want to lose her again. And she thought after seeing her old team in action, she wanted that closeness with her. What she should have done is at least talk to Whisper about naming the new team after her old one beforehand to see if she was comfortable with it. But again, childlike demeanor. At least she was sorry about it. I mean, look at her here, using her own tail as a security blanket. I'd give her a hug. She does have her moments like cheering people up with a pep talk, something we've seen before when she gave Sonic himself one in issue 24. Then we've got Whisper. Her recent behavior is also understandable when you recall her tragic backstory. She was still haunted by what Mimic did, betraying the others to be murdered by shadow androids. Since then, the two have played a game of cat and mouse until he was finally imprisoned. Whisper seemed ready to move on, but the events of Bad Guys nullified that victory. So Whisper reverted back to her old ways because she's worried she would lose everything she's gained and the people she's befriended to him again. Remember how she behaved when she lost Tangle to the Mel virus? Or losing the Wisp to Surge? Yeah, I don't think she can handle another emotional moment like that. It was only after seeing Tangle break down that Whisper realized she's had a negative impact on those around her and resolves to not let Mimic live rent-free in her head anymore. A nice visual touch is Blue Cube, the wisp that belonged to Mimic, popped out to console Whisper during this. I should go ahead and quickly bring this up because I have a feeling someone in the comments will. It's no surprise that people have been shipping these two, and the comic staff seem to be on board with this. However, from what I've read, Sega's not a fan of romances in general when it comes to the Sonic franchise. I don't blame them given the mess over at Archie Sonic. Doesn't stop some creators from sneaking in nods to the ship. For instance, Thomas R., who penciled this issue, showed 2 panels of Tangle and Whisper wearing nearly identical headbands. In universe, it made sense for Tangle to wear one because it's a workout headband, and we've seen her with it when Whisper departed Restoration HQ. So why is Whisper wearing an identical one in the hospital? I thought at first it's a medical brace for the head, and it was probably supposed to be, but it's drawn exactly like Tangle's workout headband. Makes you wonder, did she buy one as a way to remember her friend? Whatever the case, the art team responsible knew what they were doing when it comes to connecting these two together. The team bonding moment in dire situations is a cliche in fiction, but it can be effective if done right. And the new Diamond Cutters, at least for me, succeeded on that front. Was the resolution a little too fast? Should have been spread out throughout the entire arc? After reading the issue over and over again for this review, I ultimately decided it's just about right. Besides, we need to get the team into a good place emotionally because after this issue, Ian Flynn will bow out, leaving Evan Stanley to finish the arc. Another secret of Eggperial City is revealed, the fake Chaos Emerald power sources. That would explain why the city has multicolored sections, as previously seen. Shame Eggman only had 6 sections instead of 7 to represent the 7 emeralds. Perhaps meta-wise, it's a nod to how the first Sonic game only had 6 emeralds. That's my guess. As for the fake emeralds themselves, I would not be surprised if Eggman got the idea from Tails. Let me explain. In Sonic Adventure 2, Tails created a fake emerald that has the same wavelength and properties as a real one as part of a plan to sabotage the Ark's Eclipse cannon. But Eggman found out about it and tried to stop them. Eggman probably thought, that Fox boy made a fake emerald? Well, I'll make my own, but bigger, and there'll be more of them. That'll show him. I don't have a problem with Silver and Blaze helping out. I'd figure since the 2022 annual showed them returning to Sonic's world, they would play a key role in a future Sonic arc, and here we are. Though I imagine if people hadn't read the 2022 annual, or at least saw a video about it, hint hint, they'd be confused to why these two are present. Well, that's comics for you. You have to read a spin-off or special in order to get the full picture. Also, I'd like to think that the annual stories took place during the lull period between issues 56 and 57 to explain why they didn't help out during the Surge incident. The issue overall was enjoyable, with character stuff for the comic origin characters, and plenty of action for the game origin characters. My favorite bit is when Amy decided to use an Egg Hammer's hammer, with some assistance from Silver, on that weapon's original owner. The preceding panels really sell it for me. Next time we'll find out why Team Dark is here, how can the new Diamond Cutters help out in their current state, and if the covers and solicitations are to be believed, witness the return of the Shadow Androids. Shadow and Whisper are not gonna like this. I'll see you in issue 59. This panel feels like an end of an episode frame. I challenge any animator out there to animate the Diamond Cutters moving out and ending with this specific panel.